Brooke and Andy, welcome.
Howdy.
The Sunny Dream Homes crew.
Hey, Eric.
I love it. Well, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it, guys. I know we've been working together for a while now, and this really helps our business to just hear the experiences of real people who are going through it. So why don't you tell everyone really quickly where you guys work and a little bit about your business, and then we'll get into kind of some of the stuff we've been doing together.
All right. You want to start, Andy?
If you'd like. So our business, obviously real estate. We're kind of in a unique situation that we moved across country a little over a year ago from Phoenix, Arizona to Florida. My wife, Brooke, has been in real estate for a considerable amount of time, and I was new to it as we jumped into the Florida market. So I think we're probably a little bit more of a unique team than others that, not only did we have this learning curve with myself, but then also jumping into a new market. So that's where we're at. We're the Sunny Dream Home team with sunnydreamhome.com and a town called Bradenton, Florida. Our office is on Anna Maria Island. For those that probably may or may not Google where that is, it's right between Sarasota and Tampa Bay.
Awesome. And it's Sunny Dream Homes with an S, correct?
With an S, yes.
Yes.
Got it. Just want to make sure in case anyone looks. Right on. Well, why don't you guys tell us? I know you guys were a unique case, and that's why I thought this was always interesting, is like starting from scratch, new market, know the business, or at least one of you did. But walk us through kind of, I guess that is where you were at before you started with us, but walk us through kind of the first, how long have we been working together now?
We started November of 2023.
Yeah. So it's been 6 months,
Yep.
7 months.
Yep.
7
Yeah,
months.
I would say 6 months because it took a good couple weeks to get, everything downloaded and website created and all of that. So I think we really started hitting the ground running beginning of December.
Yeah, and
All right. Awesome.
we often joke that even though we've been here for the first year here in Florida, we didn't even start to work for 6 months. So we enjoyed that Florida life and living on the beach, and then realized that all costs money. So we were like, hey, we should probably start selling some houses. And that's when we approached your company. So, yeah.
I remember that conversation. You guys were like, yeah, we've been drinking beer, hanging out on the beach for a little while.
Yeah,
and I think it's time to get back to work. But hey, when you move from Arizona, you got to enjoy the beach.
Yeah. We missed it. For sure.
So talk us through the last 6 months.
Well, the first couple months, so it's different here. We're in a very touristy area. So January, probably just Christmas to Easter is touristy. So it's very busy here. People are coming here for the first time, or some people come here every year. And if you come here for the first time, you fall in love with the area and you start looking at homes, and your dreams start opening up. You're like, okay, I'd love to move here. So the first, I would say, just mid-December to Easter, obviously we were getting like a bunch of leads, trying to figure out, the whole team effort, like who's going to take what lead and how do we figure this out? Because it is kind of a balance of who's communicating with who, and it took a couple months of figuring that out, but once we figured out how to manage that, we started realizing that we were getting some really good leads. Obviously, you're getting a lead, and this may be a year out or a couple months out.
For sure.
We got some really good, solid leads, and we actually closed on our first one last month, and we're closing on our second one this month.
Nice.
To be fair, I'd say with the if we're talking about agent launch in itself, like it was a learning curve for us in the sense that I don't think we're the most tech savvy people, so we had to catch up to somebody that's more used to working with the CRM. And that, I think, when Brooke says, like, when we were trying to figure out what, when, and how, that was us ourselves learning how to use the technology, which is wildly powerful, as you know. And that was it was nice to learn, and keeps your brain sharp. And your team has always been so great of discussing, not just, hey, this is the way that we do it, but hey, this is the way that we do it, and how do we also marry it to how you guys are processing this information. So
Yeah.
that's been pretty darn good. It's been pretty helpful.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, a team is always always a little more complicated because there's some crossover with leads and stuff like that. And so, Brooke, when you said like a bunch of leads, like how many leads have you guys been averaging per month, would you say?
Oh, you probably keep track of that, Andy.
Yeah, it's very seasonal here. So we're in a unique situation. I'll preface this in the sense, I think Brooke kind of touched on it, but we're a tourist destination. People come to Anna Maria Island, and they sit in their condo that they're renting for the week or for the month or for however long, and they Google away on how much does this place cost, or what does it cost to live here. So we get a lot of those, and I would be interested to know how it stacks up to somebody that's just in a market with less migrants and less tourists. So seasonally, my point is seasonally, when we're at peak season, we're probably rocking. There's days we have, especially for whatever reason on the weekends, we'll have 10 leads a day. Easy. And
Wow.
then I'd say if we were to average it 3 a day, so I guess that's 90 a month, somewhere in there, 90, 100.
Yeah.
Some of them are soft because they're exactly that kind of lead that I was talking about, where they're more just kind of wondering what, when, and why. But we're getting some pretty good conversations, and we're engaging with some people that, once again, I always wonder what it's like in other markets, but they have timelines, right? So there's a nurturing process of hey, yeah, I love it here, and we have some statistics with our broker that our broker tracks it, and a lot of your people that can find afford a second home, or it's their retirement home or whatever in this beautiful place. Fourth time visiting the island or the area. So they usually come a handful of times. They stay in one of the condos, one of the hotels, whatever. And they fall in love with it more and more each time. And then they eventually say, okay, we're gonna set our rudder to that direction of having our second home or what have you. While these leads are coming in, it's been a learning curve, and interesting for us to learn that, yeah, these conversations, even though they might go one way or the other, these people are in their infancy stages, and we just need to nurture them along. And so, I don't know if we stack. Obviously, Brooke said we just got our first one in contract, and we or closed our first one and have another one in contract. It's because that nurturing process is that
It's everything,
right?
Yeah.
And they're
It's
moving.
everything.
Very seldom are we talking to somebody that's from Florida, right? So they're from California, or they're from Colorado, or they're from Ohio, or they're from wherever, and they're like, hey, here's our timeline. And then they're using our website, and we see them actively searching homes, and we're keeping in constant contact with them. And it's been pretty great. I mean, obviously, I think I'm preaching to the choir. We'd never be talking to that person without your program and the outline that the path that you put us on.
Well, I'd be very curious to do this again in a year, because I think that's when you're probably going to see this snowball a bit.
Yeah.
Not that you get snow down in Florida, but I think that's the idea I love to hear, because it does take time, right? It's a long game, and that nurture is what you want to focus on being better at, which you are. And I know you guys talked about time blocking, so we can get into that a bit, but I think the big thing is, like doing a newsletter to like update people on what's on the market, like updating their safe search, as I know you guys are doing, and just providing value. Because I think that's where most people fail, is they just don't provide the value and they choose someone else. Because the reality is a lot of leads are going to be on 2 or 3 websites. One of them might be Zillow. One of them might be Realtor. One of them might be another agent, and they're getting prospected. So why are they going to work with you?
Yeah.
And
to your point,
I love.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I love this example of this guy who he did Google PPC for like 5 years ago, and he did a meta analysis of he only had 150 leads total, so he didn't do it for long, and he quit on it because he was like, people are far out, or he admitted he's like, I didn't make the calls, I didn't do the work, right?
Yeah.
And then he looked in MLS 5 years later, and 55% of those people had transacted real estate.
Yeah.
55%. So that was like, 85 or something people out of that 150. And crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
just
And to that point, I mean, no one really ever tells you
the truth.
The truth, right?
Yeah.
They don't even when you start developing a relationship with them, the amount of times, and I'm sure any real estate agent that would watch this would relate, like, hey, what's your budget? Well, my budget's X. And next thing you know, they blow that budget out of the water and they're going outside your saved search or whatever. It's like, dude or dudette, if you just told me your budget, right, we could make sure that we're serving you up homes that are of value, but you're keeping this guarded to your chest. And I think that's, to your point, like, these leads and oh no, we're not searching, or oh no, we're not interested, or whatever. And the reality of it is they are, you just haven't developed a relationship or broke through, in whatever manner or connected to them in a way that they feel like taking those guards down or taking, those walls down and engaging.
Yeah. And the line I love is like, they don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Oh, that's good.
And you have to have that relationship built for them to be more honest with you. But buyers are liars is the best one.
Yeah.
Just don't believe everything they say.
You just can't say that to them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then after 3 or 4 years of doing this, I mean, then you start getting people selling.
Yeah.
And you guys are in a unique market because you're not generating a lot of sellers because people are moving there to buy a second home and stuff. But in a lot of markets, you do get like people who are looking for homes and you find out they have something to sell. And you'll probably get this a little bit, but less so in a market like yours. It'll probably come more in like a couple years when people, maybe they decide they need to sell their vacation home or whatever. Then you start getting listings, and then again, it just grows and grows.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And if we could keep our side of it up and continue to develop those relationships and nurture it, even with the ones that we've already sold. We snowball, as you put it earlier. Like we're looking forward to this all building something that we're already proud, but very proud of in the years to come.
Yeah. So one of the metrics we like to use today, which is actually recent, that we really started focusing on this metric as opposed to like cost per lead or even cost per qualified lead, is just simply cost per active client. And so the active client idea is, what is an active client? Is someone you have a signed listing or buyer's agreement with, or you're very actively like working with them in the sense that you're taking them on showings, or you're talking to them all every day, like someone who's obviously you're working together now, how many of those would you say you have at the moment? Like people you're really actively talking to on a serious level, and you feel confident that something's going to happen at some point. Using the CRM, I like it.
I get a little overzealous sometimes, and I probably mark people a hot prospect that may or may not be a hot prospect, but it's because I engaged with them at some point. I was pretty jazzed at the end of either the phone call or whatever correspondence. But currently, right now, since we've started with you, I have 37 people in that category.
That's great.
Yeah. So I would say I could probably clean a little bit of that up. But these are definitely,
even if it's 25, 25 is a good place to be.
Yeah. And
I have about 12 myself.
Yeah. And so, that was actually both our numbers put together.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So
there you go.
But no, I mean, these people, and I'm looking at their visits to the website, and they're visiting pretty regularly. And they're engaged, right? And that's all, as long as we can keep them engaged, and it goes back to that whole timeline thing, and they're not searching homes for fun. I do think these people are searching homes because it's on their radar, and it's just how long are they out from actually pulling the trigger. And if we can, we try to get them to engage. We send one of our emails that we have templated is our socials, So even, because you can only poke the bear so many times before you're becoming a pest, right? So it's like, hey, we Brooke and I often talk about it. We try to get them to follow our socials because we're semi-active on our socials, and it's like as long as they're relating to us and they're seeing it and they're seeing us going out to the sandbar and having a good time on the boat or fishing or doing whatever, all that Florida life stuff, then we're
Create
staying
a bit of
top of.
FOMO.
What's that?
Create a bit of FOMO.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're staying, hopefully we try to stay top of mind and at the tip of their tongue so that when they get closer to that point that they think of us.
Yeah, I think at this point it's just making sure they don't think about going somewhere else. That's you, like it's almost like you got them on your line, right? And you got to reel them in, but you got to be patient and just don't give them an opportunity to go to someone else, which usually happens when you just stop paying attention to them. Right. But it's like that line of, like you said, not being a pest at the same time. Yeah. Like respecting people's timelines, if you will. So that's awesome, guys. I mean, 37 is great. Like 25 is usually our goal with people. Is when you have 25, obviously you can have more, but when you have 25, it's like if a deal falls apart, it's not as big of a deal. You got other people coming through, but it's like when you have 5 and a deal falls apart, it's like, oh no, that was my deal that's happening right now. So I think maintaining that amount, and maybe you guys can even get to 25 each. That'd be pretty cool. But I love it. That's amazing. So I guess my question for you is this: there's a lot of bad companies in our industry. Most people have been burned before when they work with us. Most people, when they think about putting their credit card down with us, it's like there's always that level of like, are you guys gonna just screw off with our money, or are you going to actually do what you say, or whatever? It's very common. And like you said, Andy, I do the same thing where sometimes I've had to learn to not count my eggs before they hatch. I'm like, oh, that guy's 100%. He's so excited about joining us. Yeah. And then next week it's just like not responding to our emails all of a sudden. Yeah. It happens. Yeah. It happens in every business. Right. Mm-hmm. But what would you say to that person who's kind of like on the fence about working with us?
I think we were pretty skeptical at the beginning. Like, do we, this is a big leap. Like, not only is it expensive, but it's long term. Like, it's not something that's going to happen to the next day or the next month even, or the next couple months. You have to put the work in to see the results. And I think there was no regret after a couple weeks of working with you in your team that like we made the wrong choice. You know what I mean? And even after like the first month of, I think one of our first clients, our biggest clients in the contract right now, we started talking to him in December. So like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And the communication just kept going and going and going. So it was like a lot of excitement. And I was like, wow, this, like we would have never gotten his, information, obviously. But I guess knowing that, knowing that you're going to meet people that chances are you wouldn't meet them any other way. So I feel like we made the right decision, but you definitely have to put the work in.
So, yeah, and I appreciate that because like I see those positive engagements internally, right? And it's like how could I just make it so everyone also sees that? And I obviously this is what this call's about, but
yeah,
for me it was probably a little bit different. I'm always super skeptical. I'm like to a point where sometimes my wife we bounce each other out in a lot of worlds, and she's definitely the cup half full part of the team in the relationship. So I tend to, to your point, you said sometimes people have gotten burnt, right? And so I remember all these, different times or issues or whatever, and my past experience. And, I was in the trade sales business for 22 years before moving to Florida and made the leap into real estate. And I've worked with countless pay-per-click companies and media companies that say, hey, we can take you to the moon and we do this, we do that, and we do the other thing because there is, and obviously it was a different industry. But there's a lot of people that are in this world. So for me, when, we originally came across you and I was watching the content that you guys put out for free out there, a lot of times when you approach these companies with whatever industry, you're in, for me, even though I consider myself pretty accomplished in the business world in my last career, it's still a bunch of gobbledygook. I don't understand, like, the keywords and negative phrases and blah, 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 blah. Like, I mean, I think somebody has to, really be trained well to do that. And, it's like, okay, well, let's throw some money at somebody that does that. Well, with your company, obviously not only is it the pay-per-click side, but it was the coaching side. And I'm going, okay, well, if it's the coaching side and they're willing to put out this level of content for free to anybody, right? And that's just on YouTube. And obviously we kind of connect with you, Eric, in the sense that you're a real dude. You talk normal. It's not this, suit and tie sales pitch and we're going to keep it behind the red curtain on what we have to offer you. It's like, no, here's some knowledge. This is what we have. And then I'm thinking, man, if he's giving that for free, imagine what kind of content and what kind of value is there when you throw some dough these guys away. And I think that's, if I was going to say anything, the once you do join the program, the sense, the community, the meetings that you're having, the library, the message boards, how helpful everybody is, that we honestly don't, to go back to time blocking and being better adults, we don't use as well as we should, because every time Brooke and I get frustrated, we're like, damn it, we need to get back into the meetings and not frustrated with Agent Law, but frustrated with ourselves. We go, we need to get back into it. I guarantee that there's this somewhere as far as content that we can feed off of to learn and model off of. And that's what it was for me. So if to answer your question directly, of what would you say for somebody that, maybe looking at agent launches, if you've perused Agent Launch and Eric's YouTube and content that's out there for free, imagine what's out there once you join the program.
That's incredible. I love that. And I will say this to you guys. Come to the Conversion Systems call and ask that question there. The power of a weekly mastermind. You've experienced it, but this often happens with people. Is they come for a while and then they're like, okay, I feel like I got what I need. But then you always need a good refresher every now and again. So, Brooke, Andy, I can't tell you how much this means to me for you to take time out of your day just to do this for us. I really do appreciate it. I'm super pumped for you guys to have such an awesome pipeline going. And like I said, we might have to do a May 2025 version next year.
Yeah.
Let's
do it.
See how many you guys have done.
And for your dollars and cents people, I mean, we've talked a lot about pipeline, but I will tell you, I don't want to toot any horns as far as the amounts of the homes, but they're, being that they're Florida and we're in this luxury home market, the homes that we are closed and have in contract right now have well paid for any money, multiplied X amount of times that we have sent your way. So
just in 2 deals.
Just in 2 deals. Yeah, they're big. They're big deals.
I should have asked that, but I didn't. So thank you.
Yeah, so it's like I'm always looking at that. What's the return for the money? And we could all say, "Hey, great, our pipeline's good," which we feel very strong about the pipeline. But what has been pen to paper and what is going into our bank account, we have gotten it returned already for what we put out, and so it makes it a no-brainer to me. Even when we poorly follow up on our leads, or Brooke and I are talking about maybe we need to scale this thing in the sense of, hire somebody to follow up on these leads, because, we're busy because of all this, and busy is a good problem to have, but it's still a problem. So how do we scale up? And that's been some of the talk of like, okay, can we time block? Can we scale up? Can we do to better utilize all these leads that are coming in? And so, it's not just what's potentially up on the board. We've already got a couple birds in the hand, so to speak, that have paid for it all. We're very happy with that.
I love it. And to your question about scaling this, we can also talk about that on the coaching call, because our sales coach has built a pretty massive team at this point, and that has been coming up a lot lately. Team building, getting some feedback there, because you can always do the ISA and hire someone to just do like the prospecting, and we can connect you with someone to do that, or you can bring on like another local team member. And naturally that's the progression. When you have the marketing system now and you get overwhelmed, it's like, okay, maybe we need more resources to handle it. And you can take a split off that. So we can definitely help you through that next step for you guys. But it's just pretty cool that we're already talking about this 6 months in, I think.
Yeah,
I agree.
So,
for sure.
But yeah, like I said, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I hope to see you on those calls very soon. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.